You contract the money supply. We've only had four contractions ever since the Fed was established in 1913, and all those led to recessions. One actually, the Great Depression, was a result of money contraction. Let's start by focusing on real estate a little bit, because it ties into the general economic scene. And I've had requests, actually, a number of people have written me wanting to know where I think mortgage rates are going. And mortgage rates are going down. And the reason for that gets into this thing that I stress all the time, and that is the economy is all about what we call monetarism. Money is the fuel that makes the economy go around. And if you slow the money supply rate of growth down, the nominal GDP goes down. Now, what I mean by nominal GDP has two components. One is the real rate of growth in the economy, and then you have to add to that whatever the inflation is. And if you add those two things, real growth and inflation growth together, you get the growth in nominal GDP. And that rate of growth is all dependent on what's been happening to the money supply a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago. So if the money supply is going down and contracting, which actually it is right now, the stock of money in the U.S. economy is less than it was in July of 2022. Now that's very unusual, by the way. That's only happened four times in the history of the Federal Reserve. That's since 1913. There have only been four prior contractions. You have to go all the way back to late 1940s to find the first contraction. Then we had another one in the 30s, and then, of course, the huge 1929, 1933. That was the Great Depression. That was a huge contraction in the money supply, and then we had one in the 1920s, another contraction. All of those things led to recessions. So where we're going, we had, of course, this huge increase in the money supply, and we had inflation. And now we have this huge contraction in the money supply, and inflation is coming down. I mean, it's at 2.9% right now, the headline consumer price index number. And John Greenwood and I think that'll end up the year between 2.5 and 3% per year. So I think we pretty much, our forecast is going to be confirmed by what's going on. And going way back to when inflation kicked up, the money supply peaked out, growing at an unprecedented rate, 27% year over year rate of growth in February of 2021. And that was followed by what? It was followed by a pickup in inflation. Greenwood and I, at that time, made a forecast. We said it would go up as high as 9%. It actually went up to 9.1%. So we hit the bullseye there. We're clearly going to hit the bullseye on the downside too. And why? Because monetarism. It's the money supply, stupid. You have to look at these changes in the money supply, and then with a lag of a year or 2 years, you get changes in inflation, that inflation component in nominal GDP. So this is coming back to mortgages. Now, if inflation is coming down, that means that yields on bonds and mortgage rates will come down because they follow inflation. Inflation comes first, you get a change in the money supply. Then with a big lag, you get a change in inflation. And then you ultimately get a change in bond yields or and other interest rates like mortgages.